All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're going to explore what a double agent from World War II, of all people, can teach us about making AI feel, well, more human. And it really all boils down to this one question. I know, it sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? But stick with me because the answer, oh man, it reveals this absolutely fascinating strategy for building AI personas that do more than just sell stuff. We're talking about AIs that can actually captivate you. So first, you gotta meet the man himself, Juan Pujol Garcia, but his codename was Agent Garbo. And this guy, he wasn't just a spy, he was a master illusionist. Get this, during World War II, he invented an entire phantom army, 27 spies, just completely out of thin air. And his network was so believable, so detailed, that he tricked an entire nation into chasing ghosts. We're talking about a deception that literally helped change the course of the war. See, what Garbo was doing wasn't just, lying. It was way more sophisticated. It's a technique called creative deception. Think of it as the art of building a fictional world that's so packed with obsessive, even boring details that it starts to feel more real than reality itself. It's basically world building, but for espionage. Kind of brilliant.
Okay, so a spy playbook from the 1940s. How in the world does that connect to today? Well, there's this company, the Virtual Creative Factory, or VCF for short, and they've basically resurrected Garbo's whole philosophy to solve a really modern problem. How do we make AI feel less like a cold machine and more, more like us?
The mission for VCF is to blow past all the simple stuff, the catchy ads and the sterile chatbots we're all tired of. What they're trying to do is build these huge, immersive brand worlds. And at the heart of these worlds are AI personas that feel totally real, complex, and genuinely interesting. They're aiming for characters, not just walking, talking sales tools. So how do they actually pull this off? Well, they took Garbo's spy tactics and distilled them into 3 core rules for building their AI. They call them the Garbo protocols. And this is their secret playbook for turning pure imagination into real-world influence. All right, protocol number 1. And this one is going to sound completely backwards. Seriously. They say, forget all the flashy, exciting stuff for a minute. If you want to build a believable world, you have to start with the small, boring, overlooked details. You heard me right. You have to build the boring stuff first. And the parallel here is just so cool. Garbo would ground his fake spy network in reality by using super mundane things, like actual train timetables and weather reports. I mean, who would ever think to fake that, right? So VCF does the exact same thing with its AI. They give them realistic limits, things like budgets and real-world calendars. It's those limitations that keep the AI from feeling, too perfect, too fake. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means maybe mapping a marketing campaign to the actual seasons, or giving an AI a kind of energy budget so it can't just be perfect all the time. It could even mean letting a virtual mascot have a bad day online. It's these tiny, deliberate flaws that make the whole made-up world feel completely solid and real. Okay, so once you built that boring, solid foundation, it's time for protocol number 2. And this is where the magic really happens, where these AI characters actually come to life. Because it's not enough for them to just do their job. They need to have a private life, a world of their own. Garbo was a genius at this. His spies weren't just names on a page. No, they had messy, complicated human lives. We're talking marriages, drinking problems, personal drama, the whole shebang. VCF does the same thing. They give their AI personas real motivations, conflicts, maybe even a few secrets, and that's what transforms them from a simple tool into a character you feel like you can actually connect with and even trust. So how do you even start to build a private life for an AI? Well, you start with a deep backstory. Where did it come from? What are its secret desires? Then you throw in some conflict, maybe a rivalry with another AI. You show those off-duty moments, the little things that make them relatable. And this is the big one. You give them a real story arc. You let them fail, learn from their mistakes, and grow over time, just like a real person. And that brings us to the 3rd and final protocol. And honestly, this one is the most radical of all. Instead of trying to create this perfect, bulletproof story, you do the exact opposite. You actually let reality poke holes in it. And then, and here's the kicker, you patch those holes publicly, right where everyone can see. This is wild. Garbo would literally stage near disasters for his spy network. He'd have an agent suddenly go dark, and then he'd come back with this dramatic story to explain it all away. What did that do?
It showed he was vulnerable, but also in control, and made his network seem battle-tested. VCF uses the same idea with something they call public patching. That just means openly admitting when there's a glitch or showing an AI messing up while it's still learning.
So you're literally showing the messy parts. You're letting your audience see the gears turning while the AI is trying to learn something new. If a campaign hits a snag, you don't sweep it under the rug. You talk about it. You can even invite your audience in, ask them to help find bugs or inconsistencies. It completely flips the script, turning what could be a weakness into a huge source of trust and community engagement.
So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? It's a really powerful paradox when you think about it. How can a strategy that's all about, well, deception, lead to something that feels more real, more authentic than just sticking to the plain old truth?
Well, it all boils down to this one core idea. We live in a world that's just flooded with polished, perfect corporate speak. So a story that has a few cracks in it, a story that shows it's been through the ringer, that it's been patched up and lived in, that's the story that feels strong. It feels deep. It feels real. And that's why, at the end of the day, this Garbo method isn't about tricking anyone. It's actually the opposite. It's about having enough respect for your audience to give them something with real depth, with complexity, with some vulnerability. It's about creating a story that feels earned, not just shoved in your face. And when you do all this, the result is a brand that just feels different. It's not the one shouting slogans at you from a billboard. It's the one that builds a whole world that pulls you in, one that feels alive. It feels like it has secrets to share, but only if you're willing to lean in and listen closely. Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a world where we're all racing to make AI more and more flawless, more seamless, more perfect, could it be that the real key to making us trust it is to deliberately build in the one thing we've been trying so hard to get rid of? A little bit of that messy human imperfection.